Hi everybody, Tim Hughes here, the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I've got Jeff Burningham with me today, and we're going to be talking about his book, which is the last book written by a human, Becoming Wise in the Age of AI. Jeff, thanks for the book. Really good. Where can people find you?
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, the book is sold everywhere where books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart. It's also on Audible. I read the book. So if you'd rather listen, that would be great. And then I have very mixed feelings about social media in the age of the almighty algorithm that we'll be talking about here. But I'm on most social media is just at Jeff Burningham.
Okay. You are pretty active on social because I've checked you out. So,
Yeah.
hmm. So let's get in and talk about the book. I always say to people, I have the best job in the world. What? Not only do I'm able to read great books, but I'm able to then get on and talk to the authors and ask them questions about it. So, what was the moment or insight that sparked the idea for the last book written by a human? Was there a specific event that made you feel this book was needed to be written now?
Yeah, that is a good question, and it could be a long answer. Let me try to shorten it. I was in Tibet 8 years ago, was woken up in the middle of the night, like we all are sometimes, with the voice of God or the universe or my higher self saying, "You're a writer." At this time, I was running a multi-billion-dollar private equity fund. Or firm. I was investing about $100 million in venture capital. So of course, I don't have time to write. I don't have time to write, but it wouldn't go away. So I got up in the middle of the night and started plunking away at the keys. I came back from the trip, got busy running my companies, actually ran for governor in the state of Utah in 2020, lost during the pandemic. But in the summer of the pandemic of 2020, after I lost out of the governor's race, I had space and time for the first time in my adult life. I was 43 years old. I dove back into the venture work that I had put aside for 18 months as I ran a statewide campaign, and AI stuck out far and away. And it wasn't about money or control, which it certainly could be used for. The existential questions that I think AI will bring to humanity
Hmm.
is what made it absolutely clear to me that this is what I wanted to write about. This is what I was supposed to write about. And so the book kind of became non negotiable and started to gather steam and some form actually in the summer of 2020.
Good. Okay. Because in the story, it's also autobiographical, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's very vulnerable book. It's not a here's what I've done, here's why I'm great kind of book,
Yeah,
which
it's
may be
not
successful.
it's not a in your face. I'm amazing. Because it really you really reflect on yourself, don't you?
Yeah, well, I think that AI is a crucible that humanity must go through together. And I don't think that I can authentically author any book that I'm not willing to like live myself. So the book is me, and I am the book. And I think that it encompasses the message of our moment for the world, which is that as our machines become more and more intelligent, we, Tim, as humans, must become more wise,
Yeah.
period. And so I got to embody that. Otherwise, the book, it wouldn't hit, it wouldn't resonate, I don't think. So I've done a lot of personal transformation and work. And yeah, it's a very personal book, not what you might expect.
Well, you use your words really carefully, I think, because you talk about wisdom being becoming more important than intelligence. And I've not really heard that before. You get a lot of talk about AI, but you're using the word wisdom and intelligence as being two different things. So, how do you personally define wisdom, and why is it the differentiator for humans going forward?
Again, as I dove into the venture work that I'd missed, there was a lot of up and coming technologies. 18 months in technology, as you know, is a lifetime.
Yes.
So I had been running a statewide campaign, had missed a lot, but artificial intelligence by far and away stuck out. to me. And it stuck out to me because of the existential questions that it caused me to ask, frankly, and that I thought it would cause millions or billions more of us to ask, which is, who am I really? What is intelligence? What is this reality that we're dealing in when there's a digital reality and then a grounded embodied earth reality? um, how is my intelligence different than this intelligence of this machine? So, anyways, these are the questions that we will grapple with. Let me just say that I think wisdom comes from real, embodied human experience. It is often in our bodies. We don't listen to our bodies, we dislike our bodies for different reasons. We've been told sometimes by religious traditions or family cultures or whatever that our bodies are our enemies. It's just not the case. So I'm not sure. I don't believe in wisdom that is not embodied. So whereas Chat GPT or whatever your favorite LLM may be very intelligent, book smart, know the facts, and be able to, um, see patterns that we miss, other intelligent things, it can't love, Tim, like we love. It doesn't know the pain of loss.
Mm.
It doesn't know the transformation that occurs when you work through real, beautiful, intimate, messy relationships. It doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And so that's where wisdom comes from. That's what I mean when I talk about that.
Mm.
Some of the things. Yeah.
And I totally agree. I think that, love shapes us all. And it's something that the AI just doesn't experience.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, in the book, you draw from your experience as a missionary, a bishop, a founder, investor, and political candidate. You've done a lot in your life, Jeff, and you're only 35, as you can see. Which of these roles taught you most about what it means to be human?
Oh, that's a hard question. I'd add another one actually. I'd say husband and father.
Yeah.
Really. I'm married to my soulmate Sally. I have 4 children. I'm actually a grandpa. And
Oh,
things
congratulations.
happen fast here in Utah.
Yeah.
And so I have an 18-month-old grandson. My oldest has a son. And so I'd say that that's taught me the most about what it means to be human. Uh, that's what matters most in life. All of those things taught me different aspects. I was a bishop. I grew up Mormon. I was
Mm.
a bishop for a local congregation of my church, about 500 souls, when I was in my late 20s and early 30s. That was an eye opening experience. I quickly realized that almost everything good and everything quote unquote bad is happening in every neighborhood around the world. And it was a time for me to reflect on the human condition. The human condition comes from all of us. And it's something that we indeed need to grapple with. And again, I view AI as a cosmic mirror, I talk about in the book. This mirror provides a reflection, which can be a powerful thing. And it's in that reflection that we can transform and change. But I'd say the family roles I've played, and the spiritual leadership roles maybe have taught me the most about human nature. But obviously, running a political campaign, we could talk about that later, is a great learning. Being a CEO, starting a lot of companies with a couple thousand employees, that's a great learning environment as well.
Mm.
Sorry to not give a better, more specific answer, but that's
No,
the
no,
truth.
I think that the thing is that you have done lots of things. I mean, in the book, you talk about being a bishop, as you said, in your late 20s, and in effect, if just to explain to people watching, is that what would happen is that people would come to you with their problems. So in effect, you're carrying that on your shoulders because, of course, you can't talk to anybody about it because people are talking to you in confidence, and that in your 20s is a massive responsibility.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I talk about an experience where it was so interesting. I was in my late 20s. I would have people in their, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s come talk to me. And I had an office like this at the church. and we would have our worship service, and then I would sit in interviews and or meetings for 5 to 10 hours a day. And I talked about, Tim, you might remember this, turning off the lights. I would
Mm.
turn off the lights in my office after
Yeah.
the worship service. I would kneel down and pray to God to help me help these people. And I think I said that I grew up in a strongly Christian background.
Yeah.
That's my faith tradition. And I think I spoke about catching the a picture of the Savior on my wall, catching that out of the my side view once when I was praying and realizing, wait a second, these aren't my burdens to carry. The things I'm about to hear, the confessions I'm about to hear, these aren't my burdens. And this is, I started calling myself a repentance coach. In other words, a coach for change or coming back to God. So I got on the same side as the table as my parishioners, and I worked with them on repenting and coming to God, who can obviously, help us all in different ways. So that was a transformational realization for me. It's obviously obvious on its head, but as a young bishop, I certainly felt the weight of all of what was going on in my congregation. And I learned a lot. It was a great growing and learning experience. Yeah, a Mormon bishop is kind of like a priest plus a pastor plus a CEO without any pay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what the role is. And so that was an interesting, fun, cherished, and beloved experience for 4 or 5 years.
So we've had a comment from Gerald Marshall who says, "Feels like this guy has lived 5 lives."
Oh,
I,
I think we've all lived a lot more lives than that, Tim. Let me just
yeah,
say.
so Jeff, you argue that institutions, religious, government, business should serve human flourishing. Where do you see institutions failing us today, and how can they be reimagined?
Yeah, in the book I talk about the old game versus the new game. And we've been playing the old game for far too long. It's in the air we breathe, at least in this, I'll say, lifetime. Thank you, Gerald, for saying that. At least in this lifetime, this is all I've known. I grew up in the Western US in a very high demand religion, very capitalistic society, et cetera, et cetera. I was addicted to doing. It was this game of endless doing. The reason I did that is because I thought, well, if you can always be more if you do more. But that's just not true. What we're all seeking is already inside of us. All of the answers are inside of us. I talk about the book about climbing my little mountain of success, getting to the top of the mountain and there being nothing there but a
Hmm.
cold, howling wind,
Yeah.
just void and more void on top of that.
Hmm.
So I was kind of climbing the wrong mountain by doing more and doing more. And so we are not human doings. And as AI gets better at doing more of what we're used to, what are we left with?
Hmm.
We're left with our being, Tim. We are human beings. And it's in being where we find the answers that we're truly looking for.
Hmm. So AI is becoming better at tasks we once thought were uniquely human. Um, what capabilities or qualities do you believe AI will never replicate?
Yeah, I talk about in the book how the greatest technologies that we've created or discovered, I mean, it's not AI, it's uh, the possibility for intimate human connection
Hmm.
and community.
Hmm.
It's in emotions, it's in feelings. These are things that no machine can replicate. These are, you could say, our competitive advantages in
Yep.
the age of highly intelligent machines.
Yep.
Our ability to love, to feel. That's why I encourage readers to come back to the body, to get grounded to the earth, to lean into real human, beautiful, but messy relationship, because that's where transformation and evolution occurs.
Hmm.
And those are things that, at least in our understanding right now, and for the foreseeable future, probably forever. Those are things that machines cannot replicate and will not replicate. And that's where wisdom comes from.
Yeah, we tell people that the only USP in the world is you.
Yeah.
Because actually lots of things are exactly the same, but we're actually all different. We've got different experiences. We've been to different countries, and we're unique. But you write about the difference being the difference between human doing and human being. What practices do you personally do to stay grounded in being rather than constantly doing?
Yeah, I just kind of mentioned those, a couple of them briefly, but one, I've been an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship to thousands of students at BYU, the university down the street from me, since the governor race. And I often tell them this simple phrase, Tim, and then I'll answer your question. The most powerful ideas are often the most simple and therefore the most neglected. So here are a couple of those. Number one, sit down and do nothing for 10 minutes today.
Mm.
Meditate. There's not a right way or a wrong way to meditate unless you're doing something. You just try to do nothing. It will
Yep.
be hard. Your mind will wander. You'll chase it. That's fine. Do that for a month, for 10 minutes every day, so that you can go inside yourself, so that you realize, oh, what I'm searching for, what I'm looking for is already inside of me. So, meditation, one, prayer has been a practice that's been important to me. The two other things that I would say, again, a universal teacher, one of the three universal teachers that I talk about in the last book written by a human is nature. Nature is constantly modeling for us the reality of what is. And it's really only when we become disembodied and disconnected from Mother Earth where AI could maybe take over in a nefarious way, or where we lose ourselves into this digital world that AI is creating and will continue to create. So ground yourself to the earth. The third thing I'll say, again, just a simple practice, maybe a simple resolution for 2026, don't shy away from in-person experiences
Mm.
and real relationships. We're going to have to fight for these, hold on to these. When we can talk to, and especially maybe when our young people can talk to a chatbot 24/7 that takes your side, that constantly glazes you and says you're the smartest person ever, you're so good looking, oh, like that's not real. That's not human relationship. When we lean into relationship with humans, it's messy, but it's also beautiful and it's transformational and will ultimately lead to, I think, evolving the main institutions in our human existence. So there's some concrete, simple ideas of what you can do.
Excellent. We've had a comment from Chris Gunn, who's just saying, hey, hey. So he's just saying hi to us. So that's good. Thanks,
Hey,
Chris,
Chris.
for being out there. Question, just got about 2 minutes left. Many people are fearful or at least anxious about AI. What do you say to someone who feels overwhelmed or threatened by the speed of technological change?
Yeah, what I would say is to return to the basics. And we've spoken about a lot of those today. What I would say is sit with yourself for 10 minutes every day and see what happens. I think that AI is ushering in the collective heroic journey with us as humans. And so consider your role to play. Hug your children, say hi to your neighbor. Don't leave a mean or hateful social media comment. There are simple things that we can do, and this is where wisdom resides. AI may have all the knowledge in the world, never forget anything, be able to spot patterns that humans cannot, et cetera, et cetera. And those can all be good things. But again, it's in our humanity, it's in our rehumanization that we have power. So I would first of all express empathy and say, I understand why you're scared. Disruption is the only constant, change is the only constant. But we have a time to reflect here, to see what we see in the cosmic mirror, and then to transform and evolve. Those are the sections of the book. And this is the process that I think we are currently underway. It's the heroic journey. Each of us are on our own hero's journey. I think there's a collective human heroic journey. And I think that that is the, if you wanted to say, quote unquote, divine purpose of AI, is to help us down that path, to usher us, to accelerate that path. So the ultimate end, I think, is good. Getting there may be painful, but unfortunately, it seems like we as humans need pain to change, transform, and evolve sometimes. The sad story of history and humanity.
Jeff Burningham, thank you so much for coming and talking about your book, the last book written by a human, Becoming Wise in the Age of AI. Thank you so much for this. So, ask you again, where can we get a copy of this?
Yeah, I would love for people to gift it for Christmas or whatever holidays are coming up for you. And you can find the book at my website, jeffburningham.com, or at Amazon, Audible, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can get books. And Tim, let me just say, it's good to be with you. Anytime we're with another human being, we are on sacred ground. And it's beautiful to be with you today, clear across the ocean. Thank you for your questions. And
Jeff,
I appreciate your interest in the book.
hey, thank you for coming on, and thank you for opening the memo that we had to wear a dark shirt.
That's right. Look good. And we have the same haircut.
And we have the same, hey, and the same glasses. We could be brothers.
Oh my gosh. We
We
could be
could be
brothers.
brothers. And where can we find information about you, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff Burningham. That's like burningaham.com, my
Yeah.
website, and or any social media handle, pretty much LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. at Jeff Burningham.
Jeff, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insight and talking about your great book.